Hi everybody, it's Mike with Inflatable Boarder, and today I'm reviewing the Isle Pioneer 2.0. The Isle Pioneer 2.0 is a wide cruiser-style inflatable paddleboard. It has excellent stability, great maneuverability, and a durable, rigid, double-layer PVC construction. The Isle Pioneer is made with a relatively simple construction, but it's executed very well. Inside we have a 6-inch drop stitch core that uses knitted fabrics and thousands of drop stitch yarns to give the board its 6-inch thickness. Around that drop stitch core, we've got a double layer Fusion PVC shell. The Fusion PVC material uses machine lamination to adhere 2 layers of reinforced PVC without the need for hand gluing in between the layers. This reduces the potential for manufacturing errors. It also makes the board lighter and stiffer. The top and bottom of the board are joined together by a glued inner rail layer, and then an outer rail layer of reinforced PVC is applied over top of that to provide further protection. Altogether, the Pioneer 2.0 weighs 24 pounds and has a maximum internal pressure of 17 psi. With its relatively simple but moderate weight construction and a 17 psi maximum pressure, I was interested to see where this would land in our bend test. With 170 pounds placed in the standing area of the board, we found the Isle Pioneer 2.0 to bend just 1.18 inches. So that's actually really good. Our running average right now is about 1.56 inches, and the best that we've been able to record was actually a different Isle board at 0.984 inches. So the Pioneer 2.0 falls very nicely into that upper category of rigid boards. Out on the water, this continued to hold true. While I was standing or paddling on the Pioneer 2.0, I didn't notice any flex or bend in the board. When I began to sprint on the board for our speed test, I could feel it bending a little bit, but not very much. While bouncing on the board, I could generate a moderate amount of flex, but it had a very comfortable rebound and recovery. It didn't feel tight or springy at all. The Pioneer 2.0 is a wider all-around paddleboard. It's 10.5 feet long, 34 inches wide, and 6 inches thick. It has a maximum recommended rider weight of 285 pounds and an estimated maximum total capacity of about 350 pounds. The board itself weighs 24 pounds, and the entire kit together that you can see behind me weighs about 32 pounds. It's actually pretty light for a paddleboard of this size. At 34 inches wide, it's no surprise that the Pioneer 2.0 feels really stable on the water, but a big part of that is also due to its shape. It has an incredibly wide rounded nose and also a very wide square tail. Both of these together create a board that is almost rectangular in shape, and it's very good at resisting tipping from side to side. When you add in its stiff construction, the board feels very stable underfoot, whether you're standing and paddling, or even when you are rocking it side to side or holding it on its edge. That parallel shape, along with a very large, comfortable deck pad, means that the Pioneer 2.0 also feels very consistently stable even if you are changing your standing position to make room for passengers, pets, or cargo. While the deck pad doesn't have any texturing on it, it does still feel very comfortable under your feet, and it doesn't feel like it's going to slip out from underneath you. The Pioneer is a board that is built for cruising around the lake, not for racing from point to point, so it's no surprise that it is a little bit on the slower side. In our speed test, it had an average sprinting speed of 4.5 miles an hour and a peak speed of only 5 miles an hour. Now this is not as fast as some of the all-around paddleboards that we reviewed here on our YouTube channel, but it does fall just a little bit on the slower side of average, so while it isn't super fast, it's also not incredibly slow. It does perform much better at a more casual cruising speed. At 25 strokes per minute, the Pioneer 2.0 paddled an average of about 3.4 miles per hour. When we went to evaluate the Pioneer 2.0's glide, we found that it only moved about 17 feet per stroke before it would slow down. Now that gives it a gliding ratio of about 1.6 board lengths per stroke, and that's right about average for an all-around paddleboard, so it's neither super efficient nor is it difficult to paddle. The Pioneer 2.0's extra wide shape is most likely what's preventing it from paddling much faster, though its rigidity is also helping it and preventing it from being a very slow board. When you compare it to the Isle Pioneer Pro 10-foot 6-inch, they have the same size and nearly an identical shape, And the Pioneer Pro is actually significantly stiffer than the Pioneer 2.0, and it does move a little bit faster. So we have a really good opportunity here to see the effect of rigidity of a paddleboard on its speed. As a cruiser-style paddleboard, the Pioneer 2.0 is meant to be paddled around fairly casually and usually with a fair amount of maneuvering as you're paddling with your friends and moving around throughout different bodies of water, or using it in different places like bays, lakes, ponds, or rivers. And it is a very agile paddleboard. In our maneuvering test, the Pioneer 2.0 completed our forward sweep 360-degree turn in just 5¼ strokes on average. That is over a stroke faster than our running average for all-around paddleboards. In our reverse sweep maneuverability test, it was also very quick, needing only 3½ strokes to make the same 360-degree turn. For those who do like to move around on their board and turn around quickly or try different things, the Pioneer 2.0 is a great board to learn how to pivot turn with. The wide tail makes it extremely stable as you step to the back in order to lift the nose, and it does turn very quickly and smoothly. Smaller paddlers, though, may have a little bit more of a problem, as that tail is so wide and so buoyant that it may be more difficult to actually get it to sink far enough to do a proper pivot turn. The Pioneer 2.0 also had decent tracking performance. In our 10-stroke tracking test, we take 10 paddle strokes on a single side of the board, and we measure how far off from the original course we're pointed at the end of that 10th stroke. With the Pioneer 2.0, we found that our average deviation was about 21 degrees, which is more or less right about average for all-around paddleboards. When looking at the maneuverability and tracking performance of the Pioneer 2.0, it is pretty much right where I expected it to be based on its specs, and that's good news. It's always nice to get a paddleboard that performs like you want it to when you order it. The Pioneer does have a single US fin box, and it comes with a 9-inch, quite wide touring-ish fin. It's a very interesting shape that I haven't seen before. It also has 2 fixed fins on either side. Now, the fixed fins don't really aid it much in anything. They're more of an aesthetic option than they are a functional one. Now, because the fin that comes with the Pioneer 2.0 is so large, you're not really going to be able to swap that out with another fin to improve your tracking performance, but you can swap it out with a smaller fin if you want more maneuverability or if you paddle in more shallow water conditions. As a casual cruising SUP, the Pioneer 2.0 does have a core set of features built onto the board, but it is not incredibly feature diverse. We have a large cargo area at the front of the board that's spread out between 6 D-rings, and we have a medium one at the rear of the board between 4 D-rings. Additionally, if you do need more space for larger bags or just more cargo, both the front and the rear handles have 2 D-rings attached to them that you can use to extend that cargo space. One potential downside with the cargo areas of the Pioneer 2.0 is that they do use plastic D-rings. Now, this is a durability concern in the long term. I've had this board for a little over a year now and have not had any issues with it, but compared to a stainless steel D-ring, it's just something to watch out for. There are 2 tabs that stick out of the front of the deck pad, and those tabs are designed to work with Isle's inflatable kayak seat, so you can convert the Pioneer 2.0 to a seated kayak if you'd like. There are 2 Velcro tabs on the side of the Pioneer 2.0 that are designed to hold either a spare paddle or a spare paddle blade if you do have a kayak conversion for your paddle, or they could be used to hold a fishing rod. There are 3 carrying handles on the Pioneer 2.0, one at the nose, one in the center, and one at the rear of the board. And other than that, there are no built-in features on the Pioneer 2.0. And while there are no accessory mounting points or other features glued onto the board, it does have everything you need for a nice enjoyable day on the water. When you purchase the Isle Pioneer 2.0, it comes as a complete paddleboard kit. Along with the board, you get the large removable center fin, a coiled leash, a maintenance and repair kit, a single chamber double action hand pump, and a 3-piece carbon fiber nylon paddle. And all of that comes packaged with a transportation bag. The carrying bag is made from what I would call a medium-duty nylon material. It's not quite as heavy as some of the other carrying bags we've seen, but it's also not the lightest. It has a large 3/4 length zipper that allows you to open almost the entire front flap of the bag. It has a large zippered pocket on the front that you can use to hold the leash and fin. And it has a comfortably padded backpack harness, but it doesn't have any wheels, so you will have to carry the bag to move it from place to place. The 3-piece paddle that comes with the Pioneer 2.0 has a carbon fiber shaft and a nylon paddle blade. The handle section is also made out of carbon fiber and has a compression collar that allows you to adjust the length of the paddle. The handle section does have both a length marking scale and an indexing groove in it to keep the handle aligned with the paddle blade. And the grip itself is made of plastic with some rubber inset pieces that provide you a little bit more traction without covering the entire handle in rubber. The blade itself is made of a reinforced nylon that has a medium amount of flex in it. The paddle blade has a medium-large size with a teardrop shape. It has a moderate rake angle and a small amount of scoop in the blade as well. There is also a slight double dihedral shape on the power face of the blade to help direct water and prevent fluttering and wandering as you paddle. Overall, the paddle is just a little bit heavy because of that large blade, and so it may begin to feel a little bit unbalanced after a very long day on the water. But with the large size of the Pioneer 2.0, it does work very well with it and provides plenty of propulsion power for your casual cruising. Overall, the ISLE Pioneer 2.0 is a great cruiser-style paddleboard. It's built well and it has a very stable shape. It's a great option for larger paddlers, beginners, or anybody who just wants a very comfortably stable paddleboard. It's a fun board to paddle, and it's a great one to bring along family members, pets, friends, or just a nice big cooler full of drinks and sandwiches for the day. The Pioneer 2.0 is also a great option for those out there who might be a little SUP yoga curious. It's not a dedicated SUP yoga board, but it is very stable and has a nice large open deck pad. It does come with a great accessory kit and is backed up by iSLE's 2-year warranty on the board and 1-year warranty on their accessories. Now, if you're comparing the original price of the Pioneer 2 with some other boards out there, it may not seem like necessarily the best deal on the market. However, when you compare it at the price it's been for the last 6 to 8 months or so, it is actually one of the best values out there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I've covered everything about the ISLE Pioneer 2.0, but if I did miss something or if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. While you're there, you can find links to our full written review, as well as written reviews for iSLE's other inflatable paddle boards and dozens of others. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of our new video content. And if you're thinking about buying the ISLE Pioneer 2.0, we'd appreciate it if you'd use the link in our video description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but does help support the channel to bring you more reviews. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to wear your PFD, and happy paddling.